I sat in the closet, barely daring to breathe, listening as that bastard spoke to my cheating wife. "Listen, baby, just a little longer, and I'll have your cuckold licking my boots. He'll be tossed out like garbage, and will enjoy his wealth without a care." I clenched my fists so hard my knuckles popped. My heartbeat thundered in my ears. I could see them through the slits in the closet door, Emily, my wife of 10 years, lounging on our bed, her silk robe half open, her manicured fingers tracing circles on his chest. And him, some grinning, smooth-talking bastard I had never seen before, sprawled out like he owned the place. How the hell did I end up here? Rewind 10 hours. The beginning of the end. It started with a gut feeling. You know that little voice in your head that whispers, "Something's not right?" I'd been ignoring it for weeks. Emily was acting different, secretive texts, sudden work trips, and a new perfume I sure as hell didn't buy her. But today was different. Today, that voice wasn't whispering, it was screaming. She had left early, claiming she was meeting the girls for brunch. But something didn't add up. So, I followed her. Yeah, I know. Desperate. Pathetic. But tell me, what would you do if the woman you built a life with started slipping away like sand through your fingers? I tailed her car at a distance, my grip tight on the steering wheel. She didn't go to some fancy brunch spot downtown. Instead, she pulled into a quiet neighborhood, parked in front of a house I had never seen before, and walked right in without knocking. My stomach turned to ice. I parked a block away, waited a few minutes, then walked up to the house. A quick glance through the window showed her in the arms of a man, tall, well-dressed, smug as hell. He kissed her like he owned her. She didn't hesitate. Didn't resist. Rage boiled in my veins, but I didn't kick down the door. Not yet. No, I needed more than a confrontation, I needed proof. The setup. I drove home, my mind racing. She thought I was clueless. She thought I was just the dumb, loyal husband who would never dare to question her. Fine. Let her think that. Instead of confronting her right away, I waited. I played the doting husband, kissed her on the cheek when she got home, listened to her lie straight to my face. "Oh, brunch was great. Anna just got engaged, can you believe it?" she said, laughing as she poured herself a glass of wine. I grinned like a fool. "That's amazing, babe." She had no idea. I waited until nightfall. Then, when she went to take a shower, I unlocked her phone. I'd seen her password enough times, she wasn't as careful as she thought. And there it was. Texts. Hundreds of them. "Emily, I can't wait to see you again. Him, soon, baby. He won't suspect a thing." They called me the idiot, the ATM, the doormat. I scrolled further. Plans. Not just to keep cheating, oh no, they had bigger ideas. My wife and her lover were planning to rip me off, divorce me, take everything. She was going to betray me in every possible way. I saw red. That's how I ended up here, hiding in the closet, as that bastard laid out his plan. "Once we clean him out, we'll get married in Europe," he whispered against her neck. "You'll never have to work again." Emily giggled. I love it when you talk about screwing him over." I had heard enough. I cracked my knuckles. The confrontation was coming. And it wouldn't be pretty. I pushed the closet door open so hard it slammed against the wall. The sound cut through the room like a gunshot. Emily shrieked, scrambling up, yanking her robe tight around her body. The bastard, some slick-looking guy in a button-down and slacks, jerked upright like he'd been electrocuted. His eyes went wide, darting between me and the open closet. I took a step forward. "Don't stop on my account," I said, voice calm, too calm. "I was enjoying the part where you planned to ruin my life." Emily's face twisted into something ugly, shock, panic, and worst of all, annoyance. Like I was the problem here. Jesus, Matt, what the hell are you doing? What am I doing? I repeated, almost laughing. That's a good question, Emily. What am I doing? Maybe I should ask you that while you sit here with your little boyfriend, plotting to take everything I've worked for. She rolled her eyes. Rolled her *ing eyes, ***. Matt, you're overreacting. It's not what it looks like. Not what it looks like. The phrase that every guilty, lying cheater spews out like some pathetic magic spell. I pointed at her phone, still unlocked on the nightstand. You want to tell me what that looks like? Or maybe I misread the part where you called me a doormat and planned to drain my bank account dry? The bastard finally found his voice. Listen, man, I think you should calm down. I moved so fast he didn't have time to react. 1 second he was sitting there, trying to play peacemaker, the next I had my fist buried in his smug face. The impact sent him sprawling off the bed, hitting the floor with a sickening thud. Emily screamed. Matt, stop. She lunged for me, nails digging into my arm, but I shook her off like she was nothing. The bastard groaned, clutching his face, blood dripping between his fingers. You broke my nose, you psycho. That's not all I'm gonna break, I growled, grabbing the collar of his shirt and yanking him up. Emily jumped between us, hands on my chest, shoving hard. Are you insane? You're going to kill him. I stared at her. Really stared at her. This woman, the woman I built a life with, sacrificed for, trusted, was protecting him. Not me. Not her husband. Not the man who gave her everything. Something inside me snapped into place. A cold, steely calm. I let go of the bastard's shirt, letting him slump back onto the floor. You're right, Emily, I said quietly. I won't kill him. He's not worth it. But you? You're gonna wish I had. Her bravado cracked. What are you talking about? I turned, walked to the nightstand, and picked up her phone. Matt, don't. Too late. I hit the speaker button and called my lawyer. Matt? It's late. What's wrong? Hey, Jason, I said, my voice smooth, steady. Sorry to bother you, but I need to file for divorce. Immediately. And I want everything done tonight. Emily paled. Wait, what? Jason hesitated. Matt, are you sure? I mean, that's. I want the house. I want the money. And I want every single piece of evidence from her phone backed up and sent straight to court. Emily lunged for me, but I sidestepped. Matt, stop. You can't. Actually, I can. See, Emily, I had a little chat with my lawyer last week. Turns out, all our assets. My assets. The prenup you laughed off when we got married? Ironclad. Her mouth opened, closed. No. Oh yes. I smirked. And since you and your boyfriend here were dumb enough to put everything in writing, I think I have a solid case for infidelity and fraud. Let's see how that plays out in court, shall we? Her face went from pale to red to something close to feral. You son of a bitch, she shrieked. She lunged again, this time aiming straight for my face, but I caught her wrist midair and twisted. Not hard enough to break, but hard enough to make her yelp. Don't, I warned, voice like ice. Don't make this worse for yourself. The bastard on the floor groaned, still dazed. You're ****ing crazy, man. I turned my gaze to him. You're gonna wish I was just crazy. The bedroom door flew open, and 2 cops stormed in, guns drawn. Hands where we can see them. Emily screamed. Oh my God. He attacked us. Arrest him. One of the officers looked between the three of us, me, standing there calm as hell, Emily in her robe, the other guy bleeding on the floor. Then the cop's gaze landed on Emily's phone, still open, with the damning messages on full display. His eyes flicked back to me. "Sir, are you pressing charges?" I smiled. "Oh, you have no idea." Emily's face twisted into something truly hideous as reality set in. She wasn't the one calling the shots anymore. The officer nodded. "All right then. Let's get them processed." The cuffs snapped around Emily's wrists first. She started thrashing. "No. You can't." "Oh, but they can," I murmured, stepping close, whispering in her ear. "And when I'm done with you? You'll have nothing." Her eyes locked onto mine, filled with pure, undiluted hatred. But beneath that? Fear. And damn, it looked good on her. Emily thrashed like a wild animal, screaming at the top of her lungs as the cops dragged her out. The bastard on the floor, his name didn't even matter, clutched his broken nose, blood smeared across his face like war paint. He tried to push himself up, but before he could say a word, an officer yanked him to his feet and snapped the cuffs around his wrists. "What the hell is this?" he sputtered. "You can't arrest me. He's the one who attacked." The officer shoved him forward. "Shut up. We saw the messages. Fraud, conspiracy, and a whole list of charges your dumb ass just walked into. Might want to get a good lawyer." He locked eyes with me, and for the first time, the smugness cracked. Panic. Pure, raw panic. "Matt," he started, voice shaking now. "Come on, man, let's talk about this." I smiled. "Talk? Like you talked about stealing everything from me? Like you talked about making me a joke? Yeah, let's talk." In court. Emily whipped her head around, eyes wild. "Matt. Please. Don't do this. We can fix this." "Fix this?" I let out a short laugh, shaking my head. "This was broken the second you spread your legs for him." Her face crumpled, but there was no regret there, only fury that she had lost. They hauled them both out, their shouts fading into the night. I stood there in the ruined bedroom, my fists still aching from the punch, my heartbeat slowing. Then the silence hit. The kind of silence that wraps around your throat like a noose. The kind that makes you realize, this is it. The life I had? Over. The woman I thought I loved? Gone. And the worst part? It wasn't even heartbreak I felt. It was relief. A sharp knock snapped me out of it. "Mr. Carter?" One of the officers stood in the doorway, watching me carefully. "You okay?" I exhaled. "Yeah. I think I am." He studied me for a moment, then nodded. "You did the right thing. A lot of guys in your position, they let it slide. You didn't." "Damn right I didn't." He tipped his hat, gave me a knowing look, and walked off. I stood there for what felt like hours before finally moving. The bed, our bed, felt like poison now. The whole room reeked of them. I grabbed the sheets, yanked them off, and tossed them into the fireplace downstairs. The flames swallowed every trace of her. Then I grabbed a bottle of whiskey, poured myself a glass, and sat down on the couch, staring into the fire. And for the first time in years, I felt free. But it wasn't over yet. Oh, no. This was just the beginning. The whiskey burned going down, but it was a good burn, the kind that reminded me I was still alive. I watched the flames eat away the last remnants of her, our sheets, her clothes, the lingerie she probably wore for him. Every trace of her, turning to ash. Then my phone buzzed. I expected it to be my lawyer, maybe the cops. But no. It was an unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something told me to answer. I put the glass down, exhaled, and pressed the button. Silence on the other end. Then, breathing. Heavy, shaky. I frowned. Who is this? A voice, low and desperate. Matt, listen to me. I froze. Because I knew that voice. The bastard. I leaned forward, gripping the phone tighter. You have got to be kidding me. Matt. No. No way. You've got some serious ing nerve calling me after what you pulled. I should come down to that jail cell and break more than just your nose. You don't understand, he hissed, voice barely above a whisper. I don't have time for your anger. Listen to me. I almost hung up. Almost. But something about his voice, it wasn't cocky anymore. It wasn't even defensive. It was scared. And that made me pause. He swallowed hard, then said, Emily is dangerous. I laughed. Actually laughed. Now you figure that out? A little late for regret, buddy. You don't get it. His voice cracked. She set me up. She set both of us up. My blood ran cold. What the hell are you talking about? They're letting me out. I sat up straighter. Bullshit. I had a deal. I gave them everything, messages, emails, proof that she was planning way more than just screwing me and taking your money. My grip on the phone tightened. What did she do? A pause. Then, she wanted you dead, Matt. The world tilted. I shot up from the couch. Say that again. You heard me, he whispered. She was never just gonna leave you. She wanted the insurance money. And me? I was just a pawn. I thought I was in control. I thought she loved me. His laugh was hollow, empty. She played us both. I turned, staring at the fireplace, watching the last of the sheets crumble into glowing embers. The woman I married. The woman I thought I knew. She hadn't just been cheating. She had been planning. She's getting out too, isn't she? I asked, already knowing the answer. A long pause. Yeah, he admitted. And if I were you, I'd watch my back. The line went dead. I stood there, phone still in my hand, heart pounding like a war drum. Then a sound. A faint creak. From upstairs. My blood turned to ice. The bedroom. The closet door. It was open. I was alone. Or at least, I was supposed to be. I stood frozen, staring at the open closet door. The quiet of the house had turned suffocating. I could feel my pulse thrumming in my ears as I slowly approached the stairs, each step a calculated move. But the house was silent again, too silent. No more creaks. No footsteps. Had I imagined it? I reached the bottom of the stairs and paused, my hand resting on the railing. My instincts screamed at me to be careful. My gut twisted. Then. Knock. A sharp, frantic knock at the door. I didn't flinch, didn't make a sound. Who could it be? Another cop? Another part of the mess? Or worse, someone who was about to finish what Emily started? I moved toward the door with slow, deliberate steps. When I looked through the peephole, my chest tightened. It was Emily's face. Her eyes were wide, frantic. Her hair was wild. She looked desperate. I yanked the door open, adrenaline surging, and she stumbled forward into my arms. Matt, she started, breathless, almost frantic. I shoved her back, slamming the door shut behind her. What the hell are you doing here? I said through gritted teeth. She trembled, her hands raised in a defensive gesture. Please, just listen. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. You have to understand. Understand? I spat, still in disbelief. You've been planning to rob me blind, get me out of the picture, and now you want me to listen? You were going to kill me. Her eyes widened, panic seeping into her features. No, no, it's not like that. I was just trying to survive, Matt. I laughed darkly. Survive? By selling me out to some guy you were screwing behind my back. Her breath came out in a strangled sob. You don't know the whole story, okay? There's so much you don't know. Then tell me. Tell me why I shouldn't call the cops right now and make sure you rot in a cell for the rest of your life. She reached out to touch my arm, her hand trembling. Please, don't do that. You're making a huge mistake. I wrenched my arm away, disgusted. A mistake? The only mistake I made was trusting you. I should have seen it. All the lies, the secrets. You were the mistake, Emily. Tears welled up in her eyes, her voice breaking. I wasn't thinking. I didn't know it would go this far. I didn't mean for any of it to happen. She started to reach for me again, but I took a step back. You didn't mean for any of this? You were planning to kill me for money, Emily. You were going to have me out of the picture for him, for a quick payout. You don't get to play the victim now. She blinked, her lips trembling, tears streaming down her cheeks. I didn't want that, Matt. I needed to feel alive again. I needed to get away from all the crap. I stared at her, feeling a numbness settle deep inside of me. You needed to feel alive? I repeated, disbelief dripping from every word. Is that why you threw away everything we had? Threw me away like I was nothing? Just to get a little excitement? She fell to her knees in front of me, sobbing. Please, don't leave me like this. Don't make me pay for what I've done. I'm sorry. I know get up. But please, don't make this worse. Don't destroy me. I could hear the desperation in her voice. It was a hollow cry, a plea from someone who knew the jig was up. And as much as a part of me wanted to feel sympathy, I couldn't. Not anymore. You're already destroyed, Emily, I said, my voice colder than I ever thought I could sound. I'm done. You'll never get another chance to hurt me again. She looked up at me, her face crumpled with regret. Please, Matt, you can't just throw everything away. We had good times. Don't you remember them? I didn't want to remember. I didn't want to think about the good times. Not when they'd been drowned in so many lies. My throat tightened, but I forced the words out. You destroyed us, Emily. I can't forget that. Not now, not ever. Her sobs intensified as she dropped her head into her hands. Matt, please. I don't want to lose everything. Not like this. But I didn't feel sorry for her. Not anymore. I stepped back, reached for the door, and opened it slowly. Go, I said, my voice harsh. Leave. Before I change my mind. She lifted her head, staring at me with an expression I could barely recognize anymore. It wasn't the woman I'd married. It wasn't even the woman I'd trusted. It was someone completely different, someone desperate, dangerous, and far from what I had thought was my Emily. You're making a mistake, she whispered hoarsely, her eyes pleading with me. But I wasn't making a mistake. I was freeing myself. I slammed the door behind her. And then I collapsed against it, my chest heaving. It felt like my whole body was shaking, but not with anger anymore. It was relief. The silence that followed was unbearable at first. And yet, there was something oddly freeing about it. I didn't have to hear her lies anymore. I didn't have to wonder whether I was being a fool. I didn't have to feel anything for her anymore. For the first time in months, maybe even years, I felt like I could breathe. The silence lingered in the house, but it wasn't the same oppressive silence that had been suffocating me for so long. This time, it was different. This time, it was mine. I leaned against the door, my hand pressed to my forehead, feeling the weight of everything that had just happened. The betrayal, the chaos, the years I'd wasted believing in something that never existed. But there was something else too, an unexpected clarity. A freedom. The tears that had been threatening to break free, the ones that had sat in the pit of my stomach for so long, didn't come. Instead, I felt empty, but in a way that wasn't painful. More like the first breath after a long, suffocating dive underwater. I took a step back, walking into the living room, my eyes scanning the space as if seeing it for the first time. The furniture, the decorations, the pictures on the walls, every little thing that had once been a part of our life now felt foreign. But it wasn't just the house. It was me. The man I had been was gone, and in his place stood someone new. Someone stronger. The weight of the last few months seemed to evaporate with every step I took. I felt lighter. More in control. Then, without even realizing it, I picked up the phone again. My hands didn't shake. My voice was steady as I dialed my lawyer. "Jason, it's me. I need you to start the paperwork. No more delays." "Matt?" His voice crackled through the line. "I'm guessing it's over, huh?" "Yeah, it's over." I let out a slow breath. "And I'm going to make sure she pays for what she did." "Understood. You'll have everything you need." I hung up without a second thought. There were no more second thoughts. No more wondering if I could have saved her. No more trying to fix something that was never meant to be fixed. I walked into the kitchen, grabbed another glass of whiskey, and took a deep, satisfying sip. My hands were steady. My heart was still. I felt like I had finally let go of something that had been choking me for far too long. And I wasn't alone anymore. I wasn't the guy I had been. The one who allowed himself to be played, to be lied to. No. I had taken control. Then I heard it. A knock at the door. For a split second, a flicker of doubt crossed my mind. But it was fleeting. Whoever it was, I didn't need them. I didn't need anyone. I stood up and walked toward the door with purpose. Every step felt solid. When I opened it, I saw the last person I expected. It was the officer from earlier, the one who'd helped take Emily and the bastard away. "Everything okay?" he asked, his tone genuine, but not overbearing. I nodded, a small smile tugging at the corner of my lips. "Yeah. I think it's going to be more than okay." He gave me a knowing look, nodding his head. "Well, if you ever need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. You've been through a hell of a lot." I stepped aside, allowing him to leave. As I closed the door behind him, I realized something that had been buried deep inside of me for so long. I didn't need anyone to fix me. I was already fixed. I turned, facing the room, the house, the life I had built. And for the first time, I didn't see it as a cage. I didn't see the past as something I needed to escape from. I saw it for what it was, a lesson. A hard, ugly lesson. But one that had given me everything I needed to move forward. And so I did. I moved forward, with nothing but the strength I had found in the ashes of my past. I wasn't going to let this define me. It wasn't going to break me. It was over. And now? Now, I was free.